Okay, just a quick overview. Since I have no clue how to keep track of all these bolts since they're all just random lengths. I mean, I guess I could figure it out once I put it back on there, and then it should. I mean, they should all sit flush on here, but I think it's getting easier. Just do it this way. I traced around here, and then I just one at a time so I don't lose track of these bolts. Take the bolt out. Take a small Phillips. And then make sure I stab a hole for each bolt. And then it's kind of stuck. Okay, so I should have a hole for each bolt. So take this one. Because I need this thing free while I check all the valves in it. And I'll be doing that for each valve body. So, yep. So I'll just keep doing that. Okay, and this is probably metal. Or maybe it's just dirt, but it's probably metal. So there's a dowel pin or whatever it's called. This is actually fairly thick. I thought it was a lot thinner. Okay, since this one's on top, it's gonna interfere, so I can't take this valve body off yet until I take this one off. I can't get this one off because the spring's in the way. But it looks like this is holding the main valve body down to the case, so it's not part of this, I don't think. And hey, there's the missing 12 millimeter bolt head. Because I remember there was 3. There's 1, 2, 3. And I'm pretty sure I already mentioned this, but this adapter for using a regular drill, it was like $2 at Harbor Freight. So in case you want to get this adapter. Actually, I think like when it's really on sale, I think this thing's only like $1. Just remember that there's a pin here that's inside of this, basically like a horseshoe or something. Okay, all around this thing, there's places that you can pry up on. So this one, as long as you don't go down, because this looks important. So maybe if you pry upwards. So here's a spot right here. I'm going to pull this pin out. I don't know if this has to come out, but probably not, because it looks like a special bolt. I carefully worked around here and nothing was working, but for some reason, this is still stuck there. And I basically just did this. Anyways, that's how I did it. the reason why I'm going so slow is because I just found this, looks like a roll pin, or I forgot what it's called, but it's a guide pin. I think that's what it's called. Okay, so actually I'll just transfer it to the valve body. So it was right here. So here's one, and here's the other one. So it's right next to the hole for the next valve body. Right here. Okay. And I'll just do the same thing with this thing. I'll actually these look pretty even. Well, except for this bolt, but the rest look pretty even. Anyways, I'll do the same thing with a piece of cardboard. Okay, I'm just gonna get an overview of everything. So this should be the main valve body. This is probably the stator. There's a needle bearing in there. There's that 12mm bolt here, here. I won't be able to take this plate off until I take this off. Guide pin. And here, next to the hole for this next valve body. Looks like a valve here. I push down on it, it pushes it back up. I think this is the stator. Huh. It's basically a shaft. So there's an O-ring right there. So, ooh. Okay, so I took this plate off. That's what the bottom looks like. And really important on this main valve body, there's that spring. Probably there's a check ball under here. There should be another one on the other side too. Yep, there's a, if you can see, there's a check ball right there, that shiny thing. And I actually ordered a new check ball because they're pretty cheap. Probably didn't need to do it, but whatever. So this is the filter, and there is a up and down for it, so just make sure you check that. Okay, so next I can take either one of these off. I'm gonna take this one off, because that way I can keep these parts with that, because that way I'll know that it went to this part. Okay, so I'm gonna loosen these. just a note, there's a guide pin right here, really thick. Oh, actually I can get this one off. Okay, so this should be loose. I remember this is for the oil filter. I can't remember where the other bolt went. Maybe it was on the servo body that went up here. It's gotta be. Oh, then there's this. Okay. Just gotta be careful for this, cause looks like it's held on by a pin. So I'm gonna be as careful as I can. Whoa. Okay, so that's why I couldn't remove it. It's a valve. Alright, looks like these bolts are about even. Okay, so got that out. I'm going to keep the valve with the body for now, and here's that little swing arm. So here's the pin that you take out probably. And I put this stopper pin back in so I don't forget where it goes. This is the one that went in here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it went inside here. So under here should be another check ball, maybe another spring, just like what we saw in there. Ooh, that's weird. There's no guide pin holding this plate in place. Maybe it got maybe it's under here. I'll check that. Yep, there's the guide pin. Should be another one somewhere. Right. Okay, so I found it, and the guide pin was stuck under this bolt and it slid off, so put it back on here. So there's one, and the other guide pin should be right here. So that's the location, right next to the big guide pin and this stopper. This one is at the very corner, basically. This one is at this corner, and right here between this tiny hole and this minus sign, next to this giant hole on this valve body, probably the regulator. Alright, I'm going to keep this together with the main valve body, and I removed this plate off of here, and just remember that the check ball is right there. Right in there. It doesn't look like there's a spring, just the ball. And there's a filter. And it actually looks clear. So we're going to take this off next. Okay, for this one, looks like just a bunch of 10mm bolts. And I'm going to try to keep this on here if I can. I think you just need to remove maybe just one of these bolts. Actually, most likely you have to remove all of these, but just remember that there's two balls in here. Okay, so this one you don't have to remove. So these two remove, and then this one keep this on so that this cap stays down. Maybe you do have to remove this. Okay, so for sure you don't have to remove this one. Because there's no bolt hole here, so you don't have to. Looks like this one is fairly even. And looks like there's maybe one of those guide pins right here, or something like a guide pin, but it might be stuck on to this valve body. And then there's another guide pin right here. There's a guide pin right here. So there's the guide pin, and the one that's on here should be, okay, so the one on that should stick to this hole right here. Into that hole right there. And this is a bearing. Okay, I cleaned this off and this doesn't look too good. This means that it was overheated in this area. So I'm gonna have to check under here after I take this off to see if there's a problem here. Yeah, I'm not sure. It could mean that this plate's bad, it could mean that there's other stuff bad under here, or it could just mean nothing. Well, it means something, but it might mean that it's still okay. So this main valve body looks like just 3 12s and this one 10 millimeter right here. So it looks like the other bolts that the other valve bodies that went on here, they probably helped hold this main valve body down, except for the center part. Okay, this should be free now. Shoot. Okay, looks like that guide pin fell.